The Fallout TV show season 2 is almost here, and I am excited. I can almost smell it. But you know what I can't smell? The tourists. Because the tourists are gone. And the exact same way that The Last of Us TV show currently is failing on season 2 because the tourists are gone. All the best storylines are over, and now only the drags are left. The same is going to happen to the Fallout TV show. I mean, season 1 was already not the greatest thing ever, but it was watchable, okay? 5 out of 10 would watch. Some parts were good. Absolutely loved Lucy's story. The Ghoul was absolutely awesome in his arc of, self figuring outism was great. Maximus was shit, and I hope he gets blown up by a landmine. In season 2, well, Lucy's story has effectively concluded. Her character development was no longer necessary, no longer needed, and now it's just gonna be probably girl boss power. The goal, well, the goal got proven that his motivation about being previously a kind person like Lucy, but choosing to forsake who he has been and change in order to survive in the wastelands was the right choice. Got broken by Lucy because she did not crumble under his pressures to become like him. Now he's gonna just see Lucy become like him for like nothing, and it's gonna be horrible. So his storyline is over. And Maximus, I mean, do we even honestly care again? Moldaver is dead. Good riddance. A walking plot hole, and well, honestly, it's better that none of the plot holes get resolved because, I mean, anytime they do anything with the lore, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Lucy's brother, who honestly cares? Who honestly cares? Okay, it is what it is. And yeah, season 2 is almost here. I'm gonna watch every episode, and I think it's gonna be great. It's gonna be funny to laugh about it. And this time, there's not gonna be any woke lunatics trying to defend this shit because in tourist style. It's just gonna be bad from episode probably 2 or 3. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited. This is gonna be the Acolyte all over again.
We have some most delectable news to get into today. Indeed, we have a massive update on the Fallout TV show. Not only are we getting season 2 this year, what? Season 2 this year, season 3 got greenlit, and we have an idea of just how many seasons to expect overall from the Fallout TV show, and there's a lot more Fallout on the way. So I'm naturally in a great mood. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sit down, break it all down here, because we also got a teaser trailer for season 2. And where might we see more? We will discuss that. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. All of my fellow Fallout freaks. If you're new here, you're into Fallout, consider subscribing. All right, let's begin with just how this all mounted up so quickly. So on May 8th, we learned that season 2 had wrap production. We saw all of the main actors and actresses of the show making their Instagram posts and their tweets and all that stuff saying like season 2 is done, but then the Fallout on Prime Twitter account officially confirmed that season 2 had wrapped production. So when I saw that, I went, all right, we'll see you in like 2026 probably. No, it's actually happening.
By the way, yeah, there's a lot of this makes sense. That that's a lot faster because again, Microsoft is pushing Bethesda incredibly because again, Microsoft wants to get some money out of their bad investment. So there we go. The Fallout TV show, for better or for worse, is getting there. By the way, I will be shocked if season 2 is honestly good. I kind of want it to be good because I love Fallout as a franchise, but again, season 1. I mean, season 1 does not hold against absolutely any form of scrutiny. If you're just passively like watching it while scrolling TikToks, I get it. You don't care, and it's probably fine. But season 2 is just cringe. So much cringe. Again, it's so cringe that you want. It makes me explode. You know, remember that scene? Yeah, it's that bad.
Happening this year in December. Now, this may be a little bit of a sneak attack for people, myself included, but this is what they've been saying since an interview in June by Variety with 2 of the show's writers. They joked about having hundreds of seasons, they write here, but what is your ideal number? And they talk about here, given the success of the show, 5 is suddenly feeling a little more appealing. But the industry is a temperamental thing, and we kind of have to go to each season thinking it's our last. But the way they excel
5 is impossible. The damage that this show did to the Fallout lore is already completely irrevocable, by the way. Ghouls are these superhuman existences that can be killed by any means, seemingly. Like, they literally get run over by a tank. Nothing happens to them, I guess. Power Armor has this magical spot where it gets shot, you just instantaneously magically die. Ghouls need to drink this magical liquid that existed before the water, I guess, otherwise they become feral for some reason. There's so much. There is so unbelievably much here, okay? The retcons to Fallout New Vegas lore, Dr. House has been retconned, the Big Empty has been retconned. Everything has been retconned at this point. The Brotherhood of Steel is just a bunch of morons. The only good thing is that they didn't make the Brotherhood of Steel into religious zealots in the Christian sort of way. And I remember that conversation before the TV show dropped. There are so many people. I actually don't think they're even lying that say that they are Fallout fans. And yes, the Brotherhood of Steel is Christianity zealots. I'm sorry, are you like fucking super retarded? Are you like becoming a super mutant or something in the brain sphere or what's going on? Yes, the Brotherhood Steel is religious zealots. They're not Christian. They're not like the Mechanicus from goddamn Warhammer or anything like that. They just revere technology, but they don't revere it in that sense. They are zealous towards their ideology, but they have almost nothing in common with Christianity. Oh, but they got called paladins. Yeah, a lot of things get called paladins because that's a cool name, asshole. It's the Fallout discussions typically are so off the rocker wild.
accelerated things was also a bit telegraphed to us. They said you're moving production from New York to California for the second season. How will that impact things? They say, I think the audience is going to find a lack of strain on the personal lives palpable. I feel like this is going to be relatively smooth sailing because we have such great desert right here in California. We're going to be scouting locations we can literally drive to from the writing room, and also less gray skies because they were filming in New York, so they had to film in the summer and part of the winter, and some of those exteriors, the dark gray skies, were just not as beautiful, and so some of the filmmaking then came to Southern California in turn for Fallout Season 2. So I think given the setting of Season 2, of course, being focusing around New Vegas, it being set in California, this show was able to be shot way quicker. And things just worked out really well, where they also talked a lot about how, like...
I love how Todd Howard is going to use this opportunity to completely kill New Vegas. Because Todd Howard does not want to Fallout New Vegas too. Well, the fans have been literally begging for it, me included, obviously. And Todd Howard is now the best Fallout ever made in the franchise, that is New Vegas, cannot be allowed to continue. So he's gonna try everything to destroy the lore. When the Fallout TV show starts and we see New Vegas, there's not gonna be anything left. He's gonna make it that there's nothing to write about. The vault is gonna be collapsed. The kings are not gonna exist. The cons are not gonna be there. Like, maybe you're gonna see a dead claw. The house is gonna be like probably a dying relic or something like that, and they're probably gonna make it like he wants to take over Lucy's body or something like that, because why honestly not at this point. And capitalism bad, obviously. It's gonna be great.
The story was pedal to the metal. They say here, like, when are we gonna see the next season? They talked about late 25, 26, and Wagner said, we are going as fast as we possibly can. We've got a lot of the heavy lifting done from season 1 already. We have sets, assets, visual effects that are already done. We are going to be pedal to the metal to get season 2 out as fast as humanly possible. And I imagine this is to Amazon's best interest because a lot of their popular shows are renewing right now, if you will, right? Like, we're waiting on the final season of The Boys. But there's a lot of shows that are kind of pending. So no doubt Amazon wants Fallout Season 2 ASAP, especially because they gave the whole season out at once. I don't know yet, but I anticipate that this show in Season 2 will at least drop in waves of some kind. If they're like 3-episode batches, maybe, or maybe even just week to week. You know, if you look at what The Boys did, they dropped a couple episodes.
I think they're gonna have week to week probably because it's. I think it's popular enough. This batch thing is only something that bad TV shows do, and The Boys nowadays it's like The Walking Dead. It's that sort of status. You know exactly what every episode is gonna be, and it's gonna be like, oh, is Homelander gonna kill someone? And he doesn't. Is he gonna go off the charts? Oh, he doesn't. Oh, it was close. Uh, Most people I think have checked out from The Boys. It's still really popular, don't get me wrong, but I think the majority of people have kind of stopped caring about The Boys in that sense because everyone has figured out the shtick that it's like, Homelander's gonna do something, and then he doesn't.
At first, and then
Are they gonna kill Homelander? And no, they don't.
they did week to week. And I can see Fallout doing a similar thing because I don't think anybody knew, even the biggest of fans of Fallout like myself, knew how big the show would become, as we'll go over a couple of stats later.
True.
But this was then reinforced by Aaron Moten.
The show was absolutely massive, okay? It was it was one of the greatest unexpected successes in a long, long time. But I think it does make sense. But again, how successful the show was is just off the wall insanity. But you know, there's nothing else really like Fallout. Nothing really scratches the Fallout itch. That's why it's such a powerful genre that still exists, because nothing really kind of can match it.
In a recent interview, he's the actor behind Maximus, for those who don't remember, but he was asked, like, how many seasons do we have? And he talked about the showrunner still planning for 5 or 6. We're still in that ballpark, but they want to take it season by season. The other thing he confirmed in this, and I think as to be expected, is the Deathclaw is coming in Season 2, which again, given the setting, the Deathclaw skull at the very tail end of the credits of Season 1, I think we all expected that he would make his appearance. But I think one of the greatest miracles about Season 1 was how little they did lean into parts of the Fallout mythos that have yet to come that I think are going to elevate Season 2. So very exciting, but a little bit of background information on how we got here so quickly, because I'll be the first to admit I know jack diddly do about TV production and movie production and how quickly things can move. But after we got such a phenomenal Season 1, I was like, look, I'm almost a little scared knowing it's arriving so quickly. I'm like, we're a little bit of like year and a half and you've already filmed, edited. Like, is the story going to be as good? So I'm excited.
No.
At the same time, I have to say, because it's moved so fast, I'm just a little bit skeptical, which I think is a healthy area to be in right now. So the other interesting news with Season 2 is that they renewed it, as reported here by Variety, for Season 3 ahead of Season 2 even premiering in December. They write here, Prime Video has renewed the hit.
I talked about this, but this is actually bad. So, because of the huge success of Season 1, but again, the Season 1 popped off because there were like a billion trillion tourists for some reason. Like, the average person that had no idea what Fallout even is just pounced on that shit like there's no tomorrow. But it's not going to happen for Season 2. There's literally no way. This is why we call them tourists. They're there for one season and then they're out because they forget about it. Sure, some people will stick around and maybe remember that it exists, but it's not going to be like that. So now, because of this success, they're going to put more money into this. And they're not going to get enough out of this. And it's going to be interesting what happens with it, because this is going to be a loss. I'm predicting that this is going to be a huge loss.
Video game series for Season 3 ahead of the Season 2 premiere this December. Season 2 will pick up in the aftermath of Season 1's epic finale and take audiences along for a journey through the wasteland of the Mojave to the post-apocalyptic city of New Vegas. To date, more than 100 million viewers have watched Season 1, putting it in the top 3 Prime Video titles ever. So there were the stats I was referencing earlier, but they're expecting this thing to do big numbers again. Can Season 2 surpass Season 1? That'll be interesting to see, because I think a lot of things just worked in its favor. Like, I think it helps out a lot having all those episodes out at once. It really depends, I think, on how Amazon wants to pace the release of things. But yeah,
You'd think the ant field would be interesting with a sniper when you're like, well, pretty much max level, honestly, close to. Well, 20 plus or something. Oh, but there's actually places so boring for the sniper. It's just not it. Listen, get explosive rounds, go find Castors, shoot at their feet, enjoy your revenge.
yeah, December. This is really exciting. At the same time, like December is usually when I personally take a little bit of time off. So if they're doing week to week releases in December, are we gonna get like a little Christmas season sort of Fallout going on? I mean, that would be awesome. But what a great holiday treat, no doubt. At the same time, though, like that's usually when I take time off. So I might have to I will absolutely reorganize my content plans completely for this show because I am just so excited to see more. And again, knowing that season 3 is on the horizon and they've already wrapped season 2, they have to release it. And I imagine they're already working on the writing of season 3. This seems like we could get season 3 by mid 2027 based on the timeline that we just saw between season 1 and 2. And that's crazy to think about. But I guess just as gamers, we're accustomed to waiting like a millennium for literally everything we're excited about. We also got a brand new teaser trailer for Fallout Season 2. And it's a snippet, but it's just the word of the video. It's delectable. It's absolutely delicious. We see it open up with a little bit of a Las Vegas sign. 50 miles away, you see Lucy and the ghoul are traveling together. As we learned by the end of Season 1, they were going to be...
God, even from this angle, you can tell Moses split the Red Sea between those eyes. That's impressive. But don't get me wrong, even though she's British, even though she has tattoos, even though she's very British, yeah, with the accent, I'd still make kids with her, honestly, at the end of the day. I didn't want to do it at first, but she grew on me, okay, boys? She did.
Be on the journey together. So they're traveling along, and then you see New Vegas, and you even see like a little canyon kind of rippling through, which I thought was a little bit interesting there, but looks ripped straight out of the game, which is a lot of what I think Fallout as the TV show in season 1 did really, really well. Was there's so many different assets, even down to the jumpsuits that vault dwellers would wear.
God, I'm so pissed off, and people are like, did you... The TV show that's based on the game uses things that are from the game. The vault boots, the vaults. Look at the Coca-Cola bottles. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, they obviously, yeah. And people are like, oh my god, there's so many Easter eggs. Listen, if I'm just gonna say it outright. If you're someone who judges a show's quality based on how close to the original source material, like, I don't know, a Switch looks, and how many Easter eggs, especially how many Easter eggs a TV show puts in, and that's how you judge as a show good or not. I don't want to be associated with you, okay? I'm not gonna lie, okay? If you're gonna try and dive in deep discussions about any kind of TV show, and that is how you judge as a show good or not, I'm sorry. It's like the opinion completely irrelevant. Automatically, there's nothing to talk about, honestly, at that point.
The stim packs, all the props, and even here the shots from the game. Like I'm in the middle of a replay of New Vegas that I paused because I had to review a few things, but I like am looking at this shot where they're just approaching New Vegas, thinking to myself, like, I have literally seen that a million times before. So again, really capturing the essence of the game. Just seeing this, I'm tremendously excited. Obviously, all of my real concerns, if I have any, as I've talked about, really boil down to like the story, you know, where it's gonna go. Of course, there were a couple of like lore hiccups that we had to discuss and sort of iron out and give them time to see how they answer those questions in season 2, because I think if they provide the right answers, there are no lore issues whatsoever when it comes to Fallout.
Again, I don't know what's the deal with the shilling here, but it's insane. So many people are like, oh no, the show didn't change any lore from the original game. Yeah, really? Shit. I guess I watched an accidentally different show. I guess.
Season 1, but given that they're afraid to give a canon ending to New Vegas, that's where I'm like, how are you going to dance around this when they're literally walking directly to New Vegas and Mr. House is a main character in the pre-war segments, and like, how do we come about that? So that's really exciting unto itself. The other question is, where's season 3 going to take place? Because like now we're visiting popular Fallout locale. Like Fallout season 1 reminded me of like the original Fallouts, which I really deeply respected Bethesda.
I think so far the plan is kill New Vegas, do completely something different to push the lore forward. Now, the most interesting thing that they are doing with this story that no one really talks about is the fact they are pushing forward the Fallout lore, which is kind of wild. Because yes, the Fallout lore has been stagnant for, ever, honestly. Since the first game, back when it was 2D, well, technically 3D, I guess, but whatever, you get the point. Since the days of Fallout 4, the lore has not moved a bit. It's the same. It's roughly the same time period. It's literally the same shit happening, and it's just a different story of a different character in a different part of the U.S. And that's it. But this show actually does push the lore forward. The Brotherhood is advancing. Power is being restored to the world, which doesn't make sense because that's not how infrastructure works, but hey.
And Amazon for doing, because I think it was really easy to lean into East Coast Fallout. Then you travel to New Vegas. You really give the fans what they want. So does East Coast Fallout come in season 3? And I say that because, look, let's combine these worlds for a moment here. We know there's a leak for Fallout 3 Remaster, and we know it's coming about 2 or 3 years after the release of Oblivion Remastered. That's thanks to the FTC document. That's thanks to Nate the Hate. So we have a general idea of where it's arriving, and let's say it's in that 2-year pocket. You can get the Fallout 3 Remaster, and Season 3 is going to the East Coast, and that's arriving in like a year and a half, 2-ish years. I mean, the stars really align here. I think we'll see more, though, and get a better idea of like what Season 2 is really going to feature on Fallout Day. So last October, October 23rd, the Great War Day in the Fallout universe, Bethesda finally celebrated. And a lot of it was based around Fallout 76, but this was like a huge win for the Fallout community in just that Bethesda was acknowledging it. Like the existence of the event meant really good things.
People were disappointed, by the way, if you're actually wondering what happened there. Nothing was given, nothing interesting was revealed, and 76 players still were, well, 76 players. That's the best way to sum up an offensive, an attempt at being offensive
For the Fallout franchise, because as someone who's been a part of that speculation train for the Fallout franchise for over a decade, a lot of us always look to like October 23rd for Bethesda to do something. Like they put out a tweet or whatever, but like a stream, like the franchise is big enough and now it's got so many irons in the fire. Like it's at a place now where you could hold an annual stream and be like, here's what we're doing that's new with the Fallout franchise. I feel like this year, just given that we know the new season is coming out in December, that famous last words, you can kind of lock in the idea that you'll see something with season 2 during the Fallout Day stream. I think this would bring a lot of eyes to that stream, and especially if you're like synchronizing 76 updates or other additional Fallout content around that time, that'd be really cool. This is me being a complete dork, so bear with me. But one thing I'm really hoping, of course, we want the obvious things at these Fallout Days.
God, look at those lame ass death claws. They don't look scary. They look boring. The dead claw, these dead claws actually look like just overgrown lizards.
Streams like, oh, you know, Fallout 3 Remaster would be sick to see, or like something involving games. But I have been begging Bethesda to do like Fallout books, Fallout comics. I don't know why this is untapped. I respect being careful with things, but like I think Fallout books I'd be all over it. Like Star Wars has a million books and I love reading those. Halo has a ton of books and I remember reading those as a kid. I do feel like Fallout, now that It's just so
Well, I guess that's it. Anyway, that was Mr. Matty Plays. Are you excited for season 2 of the Fallout TV show? I am. I very much am. I wonder if I'm gonna actually review every episode like in The Acolyte, which was a blast, because, women logic, campfires in space and whatnot, 10 out of 10. Anyway, bye!